Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for being here. I'm Ivanka from the consulting team here in Odoo, and I'll be assisting you today with this webinar that we call Odoo Live Services. And for this, before we start, I do have some rules, let's say, of how it's going to work this session. You know that this is a Q&A session, okay? So what I'll be doing is that you can send your questions on the chat, and I will be assisting with answers, okay? And for that, we have here, give me one second, how it works, okay? So again, this is a live Q&A with a certified Odoo consultant, which is me in this case. I'll be sharing a lot of tips and tricks that you won't find on the documentation as well, which is part of the, let's say, things that you learn when using and implementing Odoo. I will be giving demos on a standard database in the latest version, and I will be also covering standard functional and technical questions. There might be some questions that are out of the scope of this session because you know that this is a 1 hour long webinar. So complex questions or bugs or, for example, accounting data issues or performance issues might require either a support ticket or a success pack to go further, okay? And we have multiple clients and partners at the same time. So we will start with the simplest questions maybe. If you can start sharing your questions on the chat, my team will be sending them to me so I can start reviewing them, okay? While we get your questions, I will probably start with a common question, which is how do we set up the accounting? Like how do we ensure to set up accounting in order that the taxes, the chart of accounts or journals and everything is properly set to meet our fiscal country's regulations? And for that, I'll go to my database. This is my test database. And let's go to accounting. It's important to always remember that the first time that you create an Odoo database, you will have this section, okay? The fiscal localization section. It's pretty important that you choose the corresponding package, okay? For example, we have one for the United States and we have multiple for countries all over the world, Canada, Mexico, and so on, okay? This package will install, let's say, a base of taxes, of chart of accounts that are commonly used on that country, journals, and in some cases, even accounting reports and additional functionalities, as the case, for example, for the US, that we have the 1099, NACHA payments, and some other functions, okay? So it's pretty important that we ensure that we set up the fiscal localization properly here. This has to be done before we start using the database, okay? Because, for example, if you see on this database that I'm using, this is blocked, okay? I cannot change it anymore. And why? Well, because I already have some accounting transactions. And what this means is that the first transaction that you do, it's basically the one that blocks this configuration. So if we notice that we need a different package, then we have to change it, but we can do it easily from here. So the easiest thing to do in some cases is to start from scratch, okay? So as we don't want to do that, please just ensure that you always select your fiscal package. And then once that you select your fiscal package, you can go and check, for example, your chart of accounts. This will come by default with your fiscal package. And what we do is that we change the names, okay? There's this list of accounts that are already here pre-configured, and we don't necessarily recommend on taking them all out, deleting them or archiving them, because Odoo is already pre-configured to use most of these accounts. So instead, what we do is that we recode them and we rename them. Like we do a matching with the existing chart of accounts that the customer may have. And we say, okay, this is not the code that I want to use, and this is not the name that I want to use, but it's my current assets account. So we can do the change, okay? And then for the remaining of the accounts that we have to create, we create them as new accounts, just ensuring that we follow the corresponding types that are balance sheet types, okay? That pretty much same happens with taxes and with journals. You'll have some here pre-configured. You can always take a look at the ones that are existing and make some changes. For example, if you want to use another tax account for your reporting, or different configurations. And if we want to, we can also create new taxes, okay? This will vary depending on the country that we're working on as well, because, for example, for some countries as the US, we have the ABA tax solution. And lastly, so I can go and take a look at your actual questions, for the journals. You will see many journals here. Remember that the journals are basically like different folders where we will store different accounting transactions depending on their type. So that's why we have the sales journal for sales invoices, purchase journals for bills. So depending on the different operations that the customers may have, we can always create new journals, okay? If you want to split, let's say, your sales between international sales and national sales, just as an example, you can always come and create a new journal from your database here, okay? So with this being said, just as an introduction, let's go to your questions. And I'll go to the first one that Dakin Clothing sent. Where is the raw material inventory kept compared to finished goods? Where is the BOM for products? Okay, this is a good question that we can start with. Let me just ensure that I have the manufacturing app. Yes, I have it here installed. So the first thing to understand is that products are products in Odoo, okay? So everything, either if it's a component, raw materials, or if it's a finished good, will be a product inside the database, okay? So at the end of the day, whenever we are building a BOM, let me try to find one that is already existing. Here on the manufacturing app, we have some BOMs here. I'm using a demo database. That's why I have some data. And let's take a look at this one, okay? Let's see that this is the drawer and we have two components, drawer black and drawer case black, okay? If I go inside of any of these components, we will see basically, again, the same as a finished good. This is product type goods. We have the invoicing policy, tracking, and so on. And we have the quantity. So I'll go and take a look at this quantity. Let me check where is this at. See how here I see that this is using the same warehouse location, okay? This is warehouse locations. So at the end of the day, we have warehouse stock for this product. And I'll go and take a look at the main product as well, which I'm assuming should be warehouse stock in this case. Yeah, see how it's warehouse stock. Okay, so in this moment, both of these products are in the same place. How can we split them for you to have a section or a location for raw materials or components? We have to do some configurations on the inventory app. Okay, for this, let me go to settings just to ensure that I have the storage locations. We have to set up this configuration, turn on this configuration, okay? Because if not, let's say that by default, we'll be using always the main warehouse stock location, which is the one that I showed earlier, okay? So now that I turn that on, I can go here at the top and we will see this section, locations, okay? And here, again, I'm using demo data. So see how I have the main one, warehouse stock, but I also have some other sub-locations, let's say, or child locations, shelf 1, and we have shelf 2, and we even have another level inside shelf 1. There's a small refrigerator, okay? Here how it works is that we recommend always using the main location, so warehouse stock, as the parent location, and then create the sub-locations. So I'll do one for raw materials, okay? And we will say that this is from the parent location, warehouse stock. This is more for us to keep a clear overview of whatever is in our stock and also for inventory tracking and inventory evaluation purposes. That's why it's important to do this parent location. So I did the raw materials one, and now what we can do is that I have a separate location for those raw materials, right? And for that, we have this section, which is called put away rules, okay? So what you can tell is, okay, whenever the system is trying to, let's say, store a product on warehouse stock, which is the main stock location, I'll do the product, which was drawer case black. Let's try with the case. I'll say, okay, you have to send it to the raw materials location, okay? So this works together with routes, okay? Because the routes for the products will always try to send it to this main location. But as we have this put away rule, we will be automatically sending it to the raw materials one, okay? So I'll do a quick test. Let me just ensure that I get the product, and we will do a purchase order so you can take a look at this, okay? Let's do a product, which in this case should be my case black, drawer case black. Let's say that I will do 10 units. I'm purchasing 10 units. I'll go and confirm this order, and we have the receipt, okay? You'll see how here we see the stock location, the main one, okay? But when I go and validate this, oh, we have to do serial numbers. Let me just generate serial numbers. And if I go to the moves, see how this was stored into the raw materials location, okay? So this is how you can build different locations. If you want to have another one for finished products, we can also do that, and we can tie this to the manufacturing process as well. And as I showed here, this is tied also to the purchasing side and actually to any other inventory operation. So hopefully this was clear. There's a secondary question tied to this one, so I'll go to this question. And it says where, what does it says? Cost versus vendor, price list. Why does it not work together better? Cost versus vendor price list. Why does it not work together better? I think you're assuming Carlisle High. I think maybe you're assuming that if you have a price list, a vendor price list somewhere in here, with a unit price for this vendor and this product. And then you say, I think that if you buy that product, why is it not tied to the cost, which now it's somewhere in here? I would have to go deeper on that question probably. So let me try to save it at the end. I'll go to the next one. How do I add a manufacturing app? That's, well, an easy question. I do have the manufacturing app, okay? So I'll go and add another app. For that, you do have to have access to the admin of the database. Like you have to be with a user that has admin rights, So you get to go inside apps and then look for the app that you're trying to install. Let me think about an app of an app that can be easily installed. Let's say databases, employees. No, let me look for one that might be easier. I don't want to do the website. Let's do expenses, okay? Again, it could be manufacturing, okay? So you simply go and install it. I received that message because I'm using a test database, which is typically for 15 days. If you have your subscription, you shouldn't see that message. And this will install the app that you're using. And we have here expenses, okay? So the only thing that you have to take into consideration is that you do have to manage the access rights of any new app that you install. I just have one user here, but if you had multiple users that you know that want or need to access to the manufacturing or any other app that you just installed, you have to go to their section under user access rights to ensure that they have the proper access right level that we want to use. Okay, let's go to another one. Let me just ensure to mark the ones that we've done. Can can I confirm the bank accounts for vendor payments in a 4 eyes principle? This is Mirko. It means one accountant creates the bank account and the second confirms it. Yeah, there shouldn't be any issue with that. I mean, if I get it right, is that you say, okay, one accountant will be doing the process of creating maybe the vendor payment. It can either be here from the bill that there's one user that is coming. If you do it from here or if you do it from the bank reconciliation, should be the same. You can do the payment and another person can come here. And in this case, as I did the payment, what I'm missing is the bank reconciliation. Okay, so this can be another user, another accountant doing the bank reconciliation. I'll do it quickly just for us to close this flow, but there shouldn't be any issue as long as they have the proper access rights, okay? Because there is, in accounting, there's multiple access rights, so we have to ensure that they have the access rights to process or to do the processes, that they want to do or that they need to do, but there shouldn't be any issue. It can be another user coming here to create the transaction. I'll just do a test transaction in this case for the amount that we paid. I don't know who the partner is, so I'll keep it that way. And then we have here our reconcile option. And it should be this one pretty much because it's the same value. So it can be any other user doing it, this process. Or if you want to skip the payment, there can be also one user accounting for the vendor bill and another user coming directly to the dashboard, uploading the bank statements with each transactions, and then doing the reconciliation. It can be multiple users involved in this process. So hopefully I got your question right, Mirko. Let's go to the next one. Abdullah, how can I create a company, branches in Odoo and assign separate users to each branch? For example, my company has 3 branches in the same city, and we have 3 accountants with different users. So we want each accountant to have access to the branch that they must access only, right? So we will go and do that. I'll go to settings. For the branches, we have to do it from the general settings section here in companies, manage companies. I'll go to one of these 3 companies, let's say the San Francisco one, and I'll start creating branches, okay? Let's do just a simple name, 1, 2, 3. And now we have our 3 branches, okay? It's important to clarify the branches are, commonly used for whenever you have multiple branches within the same company. The main question here is, do they have the same legal entity? Like, do they share the same legal entity? Are their taxes and their fiscal documents going to be tied? Because if not, then we might better create separate companies, okay? In this case, we have the branches set up here. Let's say that, yes, this is just different branches in different locations in multiple cities or even in the same city, but they're all under the legal entity of my company, San Francisco, okay? So what this will do is that, first here on the navigation, we will have the 3 separate entities for us to navigate if we have the access rights, right? So I'll go and create a new user just so I don't mess up with mine. And let me do a different login. And here with this user, I can choose which companies will it access to, okay? So, for example, if I don't need these users to access to the main company or the holding, let's say, I can remove this access and I can say, okay, you only have access to company 1, okay? Yeah, this is a validation error because I'm trying to do something probably because I removed the other company and there might be something already tied. This is whatever is already tied. I'll change the default company to be 1 as well, and see how now I don't get any error. I can say this new user, IVST, has access only to the branch 1 and to the default company whenever they're logged in. I mean, it's the same one because they don't have access to any other company. If we wanted to, we can say, okay, he has or she has access to 1 and 2, but not 3 and not the holding. You can make as many combinations as needed, and the same will apply for the access rights, okay? You do have to ensure that they have access to the apps that you want them to be working on. And for the rest, let's say that this is the accountant, has nothing to do with, let's say, manufacturing. We will do no. Okay, so you can manage the access rights and you can manage the companies or the branches here at the top. So let me also highlight your question. Hopefully this was useful. Let's go to the next one. Is there a limit of number of branches that you can have in Odoo? Not necessarily, at least I haven't seen a limit. The thing though, it will be that maybe if you're creating thousands of companies, if each of those companies has a lot of users or has a lot of records, we will have to explore some different probably approaches to ensure the performance of the database, mostly depending on your hosting as well. If you're on SaaS or if you're in Odoo SH, that's the only thing that I would think of. Again, if we're doing like thousands of companies and also evaluating the volume of their transactions and the number of users that will be working on the database. Again, also taking into consideration the different hosting options that we have. If we are in SaaS, we typically don't have much of those problems, but we know that for SaaS, we don't do much customizations. If you're in SH, then you have to think about the workers, right? And if you're on-premise, then you get to have as much as you can depending on your server's configuration, infrastructure, and architecture as well. Let's go to the next one. Let me check which one. Okay, I'll go to one that is for combos. My business is an auto care shop and I want to offer a combo. Oil change service, oil filter, and 1 gallon of motor. How can I create the combo and invoice it? You should be able to do it, but I'm not sure if it's a combo or if it should be a kit instead, okay? Because I'll show you what the combos are like most valuable for. It's whenever you have, let's say, combo 1, I'll just do it, and I'll change the service, the product type to combo, right? Here we have, well, I have to create the combo choices first. Let me go and look for the combo choices. Okay, I'll do it from the combo, but just to do it faster. I'll do combo, and here I'll do a new one. And let's say choice. I'll do with your case. What do you said? Oil filter. I'll do oil filter first. And then here, what we're doing is that we will say, okay, these are your options for oil filters, okay? Maybe you have, I don't know, I'm bringing this up, but maybe you have different products or different types of oil filters. One, it can be more expensive. One may have different features than the other, whatever you need. So you'll have to create each of those independent products and add them here as the options, okay? I just did this oil, but let's say that this was another oil filter. Here you can manage if any of these options has an extra price. Let's say that this one will have a $2 extra price, okay? Just for me to test. And then which other option? 1 gallon of motor oil. I'll do another option for motor oil here on the combo combinations, and same here, like I'll do oil 1, and then we will do oil 2, sorry. And again, maybe this one is more expensive than the other one, okay? If you do have these combinations, let's say that each customer can choose from multiple filters and multiple types of oil, I'm assuming that the service is a base one, right? Or maybe you do have different services. You could do the same exact thing for the services. But I'll show you how it works for the combo with this configuration. As we do have multiple options, you can come here and you can say combo 1, see how we have it here, and we have this pop-up, okay, for us to say, okay, this customer chooses to use this oil filter and they'll be using the standard oil that has no extra charge, and then we add it to the order, okay? If you do have this, let's say, multiple options that the customer can choose from, then you can do combos. But if it was more like fixed packages, let's say, then for that, I would recommend maybe exploring doing kits instead of combos, because you don't need to be choosing the option. You only say, okay, for this will be my package, package 1, let's say, and we will create it. I'm creating a product. In this, you do have to have a product, and I'll do the same. I'll use the same products. Let's say that I'll be doing oil 1, and then we'll be doing oil filter, the quantities, and the main difference here is that instead of being a manufacturer BOM, we will do a kit, okay? What a kit does is that it's assuming, let's say, that we're only grouping the products together. So whenever you have a sales order of package 1, it will consume these 2 components directly from the inventory. Okay, so this is another possible option. Again, combos would be if you do have multiple choices for the customer to choose from, and also if you want to play with these extra prices and so on. But maybe if not, if you just have like a few standard packages, 1, 2, 3, we can explore it with kits. And for this, I'll show you just before we end this question, how would the kit look like? I'll go and do package 1. And when we confirm this, we will have the delivery. See how we don't have the items here because we're doing the package. But on the delivery, we do have the components. Okay, so this is consuming those items from your inventory, and the customer only choose to do package 1 because we already know what it's included in that pack. So there might be some other configurations that we can explore as well, but at least these 2 are the ones that I wanted to show for this case. So let's go to the next one. I need a payment provider. Quiz is saying, I add a new payment provider since the payment providers displayed in Odoo does not support small businesses in Africa. I would say that this is a pretty common question in many countries, not only in Africa, and that's why I wanted to jump into that question. We know that the payment providers that are supported with Odoo are somewhere in here, accounting configuration and payment providers. And, well, we have the ones that you see here, right? We have Amazon Payment Services, ADN, Stripe, Mercado Pago, PayPal, and some others. If we want to add a new one, it has to be done through either a third-party app or a custom development to build the integration. Sometimes there's available options on our third-party apps, or sometimes there's also available options through partners. But definitely this needs development and customization, because these are the main ones that we have by default, let's say, that come out of the box. If we want to add a new one, we do have to take a look at how to build that integration. So again, this might be a common question in some other countries as well. I'll go to the next one. Danon Knox. How can I easily see aging stock? For instance, if I have several serialized items of stock A and I want to know which serial numbers were received into the inventory first based on the date received. Okay, for this, I would say there's multiple ways of doing it, okay? Because also, if we wanted to, you could also play with expiration dates. Even if it's not perishable goods, we can try to kind of like tweak the expiration dates so you get to have the alerts and everything, right? But if we only want to have like a report of when the items were received, for that, I always tell or mention that we use this inventory report a lot, okay? Like to build that type of reports that might be a bit more custom to our needs. And why do we use this moves history? Is because, well, here we have each and every line of any inventory movement that we've done, okay? So it's, let's say it's kind of like the a master table where each and every inventory transaction lives and where we can pull the most of the needed information from, okay? So if we want to track only incoming, for example, I'll do incoming here. I don't have much. If you see, like I have one that was done and the rest is in to do. But here with the incoming, we can play. I would do group by product so we can check, okay, which products we've received or we have, in this case, pending to receive. And let me see which dates can we use, because we have the date. We also have the creation date or created on, but that's when the actual transfer was created, right? Not necessarily one when it was done. Let me see if we have another date. You know what? Before doing that, let me go to my actual receptions. And this is the one that I just did. Okay. We would like to do the effective date. Okay. Because this is the date. Let me confirm another one. I'll validate this one. Oh, again, I need to do the serial numbers. This has no serial number. Let me generate the numbers for this one. And then I'll validate. Yeah, we have the effective date. So probably we'll do that. I'll go back to my report, moves history, and I'll do the incoming filter, and then we will do group by product because I think that's useful. And let me check if we have the effective date as effective date. If not, I'll try with this one that is date, which is probably the effective date as well. We did month, but let's do year, month, and day just to have more. Traceability, we have 2026, and we have the effective date, which was today. And then this one should be also the one for today, which is marked as done. And then we have this other one, which is the one that I just did, that is also marked as done. I'll remove the done filter just to see how it looks like for the rest of the items and see how, they're available because we haven't processed that reception. But using this report, it's easy for us to pull all of that information. And remember that you can save this on favorites. So you can do like receipts per product per date, let's say. And so anytime that you want to take a look at this exact information, you don't have to build your filter again. You just come to the report and we should have it here under favorites. You can even save it as a default one. So again, this will be probably my way to go if we're not using expiration dates, but if you want to, you can also explore. If you're tracing the products with lots of serial numbers, we can add the expiration dates, and we can also add an alert date. So when does the system is supposed to be alerting you that those items are almost good for you to scrap them or to remove them from your inventory. Okay, so hopefully this was answered. I'll go to a next one to help. Okay, Wanda Wallace, you have two, I would say, related questions. This is not functional, but I will just answer them because they're quick questions. Okay. How much does it cost for an Odoo consultant to help us set up our apps? That depends, Wanda. It depends on where you're based on your country. So, for example, if you already have a subscription, you should have customer success manager or account manager who you can reach out to, okay? And you can ask like to them, what are the options for you based on your different countries? Pricing, again, depends on where you're based on. And your second question is, how can I become a partner to sell the one user package to my small businesses clients? You can ask your account manager as well, but we have a page. Let me just go there. Again, this is not functional, but I found those questions to be pretty interesting and also easy to answer. So if you look for partners, like here in Odoo or in Gmail, sorry, let me just change this to English. You can see the different options that you have if you are a partner. And if you click here on schedule a call, this will take you to this page for you to actually have a call with one of our PR representatives, partner recruitment team. So they can explain you the program and, well, the different implications on becoming a partner. Okay, so you can take a look at this page if you are interested on that. And let me go to the last one. I saved some of the complex ones for the end. Okay, so if you haven't been answered yet, it's because I was saving you for the end. So let me go to the last easy one, at least from the ones that we have here. Using only CRM app, can you send the pre-recorded section to me on CRM training? Thank you. I will sign up for now. Okay. This was Jeff Rhodes. I'm pretty sure that he's not here anymore, but I will try to send something to Jeff. So I'll go to the other functional questions that I left for this time, which it's maybe a bit more complex, or that I want to kind of like have more time to answer. It says, Victor, in version 19, there's no procurement groups. So how can I put all my picks into one pick document rather than having one pick for every cheap document? Let me read it again. Version 19, there's no procurement groups. How can I put all my picks into one pick document rather than having one pick per for every cheap document? I'm assuming that you are mentioning that you would like to group them, right? That you don't want to have multiple different picks. Instead, just have them all together into one singular pick. And for that, what we typically recommend is here at the top, explore these options: batch, wave, and cluster transfers. Because with this, we can easily batch, for example, which is the easiest example that I can show. And we can even make some rules. Oh, I don't know what happened with my screen. I lost my database. Oh, it's loading. Okay, let's see. Because apparently this function will take some time to load. Okay, so now we have it here. Batch, wave, and cluster transfers. Okay, I was saying that with this option, we can easily group operations together. Okay, there's many possible options for you to do these groups. And for that, if you click on this icon, that should take you to our actual documentation on the batch picking and cluster pickings and wave transfers. Okay, again, I'll just show you with a batch. And for that, let me check if I have something that I can do with the existing deliveries. Well, this is already in a batch. Let me see. Okay, there's many others that are ready. So that was what I was looking for, so I can use this instead of creating new transfers. So let's imagine that you know that you need all of this to be together in one batch. You can add them to a batch, or if you're using waves, if you're picking just some products of this transfers, you can also create waves. Okay, I'm doing it here manually, okay, because I just enabled it. But we can also automate this, and I'll show you how. I'll just do a description. I'll create a new batch transfer. And let's say that, yes, we want this to be a draft because maybe we are not done with that yet. And this created my draft, okay? My draft batch with each and every one of the transfers that I want to include in this same main picking, let's say. If I go and confirm, you'll see how we have another tab with the operations now, which is the actual products and the quantity that we must pick. Okay, again, we're grouping it here together in a main transfer, let's say, which would be a batch. Okay, if we wanted to make some rules for batches to be created automatically, let me remember where this is on. I think it's on the routes, but I don't have it enabled. Let me try to go and take a look at the routes here. Oh, I just forgot where you can configure it. But here on the documentation, let me go and take a peek at that. Because it should be somewhere in here that you don't have to be doing it manually as I did it. It's basically what I just showed. Yeah, and see how we have the section for automatic batches. Okay. Oh, it's under the operations. So let me go to the database again. And here on the operations, if I know that I always want to be doing batches for the delivery orders, which is the case that I showed, we can do here the automatic batch configuration, and then you can limit this. Okay, you can limit this to a maximum line of items, maximum number of transfers, if you want this to be auto-confirm, or if we would rather leave it as drafts. And we can also do some grouping rules, as for example, if you want to group it for contact, maybe you have a customer that is constantly buying and you want to always group its orders, and so on. Okay, so I don't know if this is what you were asking for. Hopefully yes. If you wanted to do some other type of grouping, it will be mostly what I explained earlier. Let me ensure that this is not breaking anything. Okay, it's not loading. Let's give a minute, but I'll explain. If you want to do kind of like another different type of grouping, more like on reporting, we can play around with the existing fields. There's no procurement group anymore, but there's many other fields like reference and operation and many other that we can try to use for grouping it under reports. Okay, so yeah, I'll go to the next one while my database loads. There's a continue for a question. If I create 10 manufacturing orders, will it generate 10 picks? How to force the app to pick to group picks into one pick document? Maybe you can do it with transfers as well, with batch transfers. But let me try to make this database refreshed. Okay, now it's working. There was another thing that I was about to tell you, but I lost it. Let's go to my routes, okay? I don't have any route with rules. Okay, I would have to turn on a lot of configurations. Let me try to do it, okay? So we can, I'm missing one. Let's go and do the multi-step routes. So we have the picking for the manufacturing, so I can show you with the actual route for the picking. Let me go to warehouses, and we will do the second option for manufacturing, okay? Just so I can enable the picking. And this should have this extra route, pick components and then manufacture. And what I was thinking of as well, there's no more option here. Let me see if there's another option that we could potentially use. No, there's no option anymore. So probably I'll try to do it with the batches that I mentioned. It's important to remember that anytime that you have picking, you also have an operation, pick components. And here you can do the batches that I was showing earlier. So probably you should be able to make it work with this option. I'll go to the next one now. Let me just mark you. We have a few minutes left, and I want to ensure that I answer most of your questions. Bad Whales Shark says, how can I enlarge images in Odoo through the app and not the web? Is there an option not to add the item to the cart whenever you click in them? Yes, for the enlarged images, you say in Odoo through the app and not the web. I don't know what you mean with the app. So I'll answer the other question and then maybe we can clarify the first one. But yes, there's an option. The only thing is that I have to go and do e-commerce for my database. So let me do the e-commerce. And basically, there's a configuration. Well, this loads on the e-commerce and website app. There's a configuration for you to don't sell a product. How it works is that is based on the sales price. Okay, so it says, okay, not to sell a product if the sales price is equal to 0. So the trick, let's say, that we do is that, okay, if you want a product to be published, but you don't want to sell it, so that means that customers can add it to their carts, then we do the sales price 0. And what that does is that changes the button. Instead of add to cart, they will see contact us, where you can do a form for maybe to create an opportunity. So there's a sales rep contacting that customer for that specific product that you may not want to always offer as an option within your catalog, like an available option for them to buy. So let me look just for that configuration. Add to cart. Product reference. It should be somewhere in here. Hide add to cart is this one. See how it says show contact us for 0 price products or specific categories. We can also do for specific categories, which is a new thing. In previous versions, we were only able to do with 0 price products, but now you can also say, okay, for let's say desks, I don't want customers to be able to purchase them, maybe because these are customized products and we have to do a quote for the customer or something like that. So instead, if I go back whenever this loads, we should be able to see the contact us form. And again, we can customize the form, right? Let me try to do it. Let me just look for a product that is under the desks category. Let me group by product category to make it easier here. And we will look for desks. I don't have anything on desks. Let me take a look. I should have something. Okay, it looks like I don't. So let's create a new one. Desk. And we will do desks. Oh, it was a website category. Yeah. So let me go to sales and just ensure that we have this saved. Let me go to the website to see. Okay, we see the add to cart. You know what? I'll do it with a 0 just to make it faster, okay? So I'll ensure that this has 0 price. We could do it with the categories, but I don't have the proper categories configured. So I'll publish this product. And well, I'm here, so I'll do the desks. And see how if I go to website, now instead of seeing the add to cart option, I see the contact us, okay? And again, this is a form that was already pre-configured over there, but we could create a new form, okay? And you can also integrate this form with your CRM, for example. So this would be the possible option that we have there. I'll go to another one. Natalia Alvarez would like to have a special user for a person who work in the warehouse, like some users with different permits. Um, Typically, Natalia, at least in my experience, okay, for warehouse, one request, for example, is okay, I want this user to only see the receipts, for example, because they are only receiving the items, so they shouldn't be able to see any internal transfers, delivery orders, pick components, manufacturing, only receipts. And there might be another user who only sees delivery orders and that type of the scenarios. For that, we do have to do customization, okay? It's through record rules, and we have to create those rules to filter basically which data, which records the user or each specific user will be able to see, okay? There's an easy, let's say, way to fix it with filters. As I was showing earlier, we can say, okay, this user, each user can have its corresponding filters, and we can say, okay, only operation, let's say operation type, contains, I'll do it with this, but there might be many other ways, okay? Let's see if this works. Receipts. Okay, so see how now this is showing me only whatever is receipts. On this overview, okay, this is also important. This will filter it here, and I can add it to favorites, and each user can have its corresponding favorites. We would have to do the same here, okay? And for that, again, if you do want to have complete, I would say, solution for specific access rights, we do recommend doing customization instead of trying to kind of like twist it around in multiple ways, because that way it will be easier to customize and also easier for long-term maintenance. But you can play with filters without any other customization. Let me go to your next question, Natalia. Also, I would like to know how to create job templates for specific tasks. I'm assuming that this is for the projects app, okay? So here on the projects, you can create new task templates, okay? The only thing is, let's say that I would do a new one. Oh, I don't remember if, let me just check the configurations first. So I can confirm, okay, and I'll go and check on the project configuration as well, just to ensure, because I don't remember if there's something else that I must do. Okay, apparently not. So I'll go back to the templates and we will do a new one. Again, I'm assuming that you're doing it on projects, okay? If you're using any other app for your jobs, we would have to take a look at that configuration. And there's a way that I don't see here. That's why I wanted to check the configurations. Let me check if this is, yeah, here it is. Convert to template, okay? So let's say that you fill whatever data needs to be filled. Remember that, for example, we could have, I don't know, like a checkbox with all of your mini tasks, let's say, that you must do for this job, and a description, general things. And once that you have your template ready, we can go here to convert to template and see how it says template. And what would happen is that the next time that you have another job for that, we can simply create a new task. Either if you're creating the task manually, as I'm doing it now, like choosing the template and see how it's already with the description that I added, or if you're creating new tasks coming from services with the integration with sales, that could work the same with the task template as well. Let's go to one or two more questions and then we wrap up. So how do you set up a volume discount Dutch maker? I'm assuming that your question is, for example, if you purchase more than a specific quantity of products, then you receive a discount. Depends on the type of, flow that you would like to implement, okay? But one of the easy ways is to create a price list and to have the different rules. Let's say that for these bricks, you will do discount if the minimum quantity is 50 units, and here we can say, okay, the discount will be 10%, okay? This is one way, okay? The only thing is that obviously, well, you can have as many price lists as needed, and you must ensure that you're using the right one whenever you are creating a new quotation or a new sales order, okay? The other possible option, let me just enable that, would be using promotions, loyalty card, and gift cards. I would say that this way is more for whenever it is occasional, or at least that's how I try to explain it. Okay, price list would be for whenever you know that, for example, you have some customers that they frequently buy in large amounts, so you know that you can offer those discounts to them, more like a fixed discount, let's say. And the promotions can be used for whenever you have an special event coming up, or if it's, let's say, a time on the year that you would like to give more promotions and discounts. Here we have these two extra configurations, discount and loyalty. And here you can create different types of promotions, coupons, loyalty cards, discounts. And here you should be able to also set up the conditional rules. See how here we have an example, but you can set up the minimum quantity, either minimum quantity or minimum purchase. The only difference is that depending on the type of promotion, you'll have to apply it in a different way on the sales. But yeah, I would recommend exploring these two options, price lists and promotions and discount loyalty programs in general. So we're almost out of time. We had a lot of questions for today. There's still some on the list, which I'll try to take a look and maybe share some resources if we can find you on the list of the attendees. But I want to thank you all for being here, for taking some time of your day to join this session. And hopefully we will continue seeing each other on the next ones. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.